Getting into shape can be a pain. Don't eat this, do eat that. Spend hours upon hours on end putting yourself through hell and flexing in front of a mirror. Okay, that last part can be quite satisfying, but we digress. At the end of the day, if you have to push your body to its limits, a nice big slice of motivation never goes amiss. And what better way to get the endorphins flowing than the threat of an ice army coming to hunt you down? Well, that's a gym membership I could buy into. Welcome back to The Binger, guys, and in today's video we're going to be counting down the top 10 Game of Thrones actors who had to get in serious shape for their roles. And by get into shape, we're talking about actors who had to get into peak physical fitness for the show. Or maybe they had to endure intense skill-based training to help legitimize the way they play their characters. Either way, these are 10 actors who had to do some serious preparation off-screen so they could survive the famed Game of Thrones on-screen. Protein shakes at the ready, people. Let's build some muscle. Now sit and give me 10 minutes or so of your time. When MICHIEL HUISMAN replaced Ed Skrein in the role of Daario Naharis, it was a breath of fresh air. Sure, Ed Skrein had the confidence and the jawline, of course, but HUISMAN plays the character with some inspiring grit. But that didn't come easy. HUISMAN put in some serious time in order to bulk himself up for the role of Daario Naharis. But HUISMAN didn't just merely increase his gym visits in order to get in shape. Nope, his physical transformation required a real lifestyle change as he needed to pretty much start from scratch. Before Game of Thrones, HUISMAN could be seen as street musician Sonny in the TV show Treme, or Treme, however you want to pronounce it. And he wasn't exactly bulked up, put it that way. In fact, his trainer described his physique at that stage as skinny. But HUISMAN committed to the role of Daario Naharis, training rigorously every day for several months. His trainer, Aaron Williamson, described the transformation as scrawn to brawn. And you've got to hand it to the guy. He looked convincing on the battlefield. He may not be as imposing as the Mountain, more on him later, but he dances around enemies so effortlessly, it looks like he's been doing it his whole life. If any of you watching need some zero to hero inspiration, look no further. So the Mother of Dragons may have fire-breathing monsters to fight her battles for her, but staying in shape is still important. Just like the Khaleesi, Clarke has a very busy schedule that sees her constantly travelling, and thanks to her personal trainer James Dugan, she found a way to keep up with her busy schedule and stay in shape. Clarke finds a balance with her diet, eating healthily but ultimately utilising a regime that works for her, allowing her to eat some treat foods too. But most importantly, Clarke ensures she keeps up with her physical workout by doing resistance training on the road. By using things like resistance bands and her own body weight, Clarke makes sure that she stays trimmed even when in hotel rooms or out and about when filming. Game of Thrones is a show about calculated battle tactics and careful behind the frontline politics. As a result, many of its characters act more as a voice of reason as opposed to all-out soldiers, and Liam Cunningham's Davos Seaworth is certainly one of them. Usually whispering advice in the ear of a leader, Sir Davos is more of a ask questions now and fight later kind of guy. But of course, being the hand of a king, he still needs to be able to look after himself. To prepare for the eventuality of being caught off guard without his sword, Cunningham took up some hand-to-hand combat training just in case, and we're not talking slow, methodical judo katas. Cunningham got himself in the gym with none other than John Kavanagh, who had previously coached UFC featherweight champ Conor McGregor. He's probably still more of an asset in an advisory role, but don't let the relaxed demeanour fool you. You don't want to corner Sir Davos. So what do you have to do to become a Kingslayer? Well, if you want to bulk up, you'll have to do what NIKOLAJ COSTER-WALDAU and many others did. Eat lots and lots of protein. After setting his sights on being jacked for his role as Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones, COSTER-WALDAU loaded up on protein and took primarily to heavy lifts and squats. He still did cardio, although he's not a fan of being locked up indoors and running on a treadmill. If possible, he gets himself outdoors and enjoys things like running and mountain biking. Working out 3 to 5 days a week, the 48-year-old talked about how he's never felt stronger, but he's also emphasized the importance of things like yoga and using massage balls to limber up before a workout. In fact, the intense workouts he underwent actually helped him recover from some chronic back pain he'd been suffering from for quite a while, an added bonus alongside his ripped physique. The character of Arya Stark has arguably the biggest emotional and tactile transformation out of the entire Game of Thrones lineup. As one of the Stark children, Arya was up against it when Joffrey Baratheon started ruling with an iron fist, forced to go into hiding. But she was never going to just roll over and take the fact that many of her family members had been taken out. Oh no, Arya went from fragile, vulnerable teenager to faceless, ruthless assassin. And of course, Maise Williams had to tread the same path. Well, sort of. In preparation for her transformation into a faceless warrior, Maise Williams had to undergo countless amounts of combat training. From fencing to full-fledged martial arts, Williams was honing her skills to become the ultimate weapon. And this mostly revolved around hours and hours and hours of repeating meticulously choreographed fight sequences. And Williams said this pushed her to the point of wanting to break down and cry. And being just 5'1" doesn't help either. Take the famed one-on-one fight against Brienne of Tarth in the Winterfell courtyard. This pit Williams' 5'1" frame against Gwendoline Christie's towering 6'3" stature. And if her diminutive size wasn't enough of a handicap, Williams, who is right-handed, had to do pretty much everything as Arya Stark, left-handed, to match her character's description in the book. So, all those needle-wielding fight scenes were carried out with Williams' weak hand. I can just about use a spoon in my weak hand, let alone wield a sword. Okay, so being a professional strongman competitor means you're pretty much in Game of Thrones mode 24/7. But the Icelandic muscleman HAFÞÓR BJÖRNSSON still had to make sure he was in his most majestic form when it came to conquering a trial by combat. As well as boasting a long list of strongest man accolades, the 6'8" Björnsson has some seriously impressive weightlifting figures too. He can bench press around 250 kilograms and squat around 440 kilograms. But what about his daily prep? What's he doing before appearing on screen as Gregor Clegane, aka the Mountain? Well, he eats around 10,000 calories a day over the course of 8 meals, and workout-wise, as he's more concerned with bulking up, he focuses on weights more than cardio. And the results are, well, the guy's a machine. One of the most imposing characters in Westeros, Gwendoline Christie's preparation to play Brienne of Tarth required more than just getting fit. Not only did Christie have to pack on a load of muscle to play the blonde-haired soldier, 14 pounds of it in fact, but she had to change her body entirely. Christie underwent super specific muscle building training routines to ensure that her body was built like someone who fought with a sword and rode a horse. Ultimately, this meant creating a more masculine physique for herself. Or as she described it, a body that wasn't conventionally aesthetically pleasing. But there's no denying that Christie nailed it. Not only is she highly capable at wielding a sword, but her physical presence is arguably only bested by Björnsson. And that's saying something. I mean, come on, it's gotta make you feel powerful. Unlike other seriously jacked up actors whose focus is bulking up, Jason Momoa's fitness routine is rather unconventional. He doesn't live in the gym like the Mountain. Nope, Mamoa, aka Khal Drogo, is more of a free spirit, who has openly said that he doesn't really like going to the gym to work out. Momoa builds muscle in his own way, with extreme sports like rock climbing and surfing. Don't misunderstand us, he still lifts weights, but he does it in such a way that he's not shackled to strict routines. In fact, he's been known to enjoy alcoholic drinks quite often, specifically Guinness. And if he does partake in an alcoholic beverage, he simply adjusts his workout accordingly. So if anyone ever told you you can't have fun, live carefree, and bulk up, they were wrong. Momoa is living proof that it's totally doable. I mean, the guy is king of Atlantis. Another slightly unconventional addition to today's list in terms of the way he works out is Tom Hopper. Although he played Dickon Tarly for just a few episodes in Game of Thrones, Hopper still had to make sure he had his soldier's body. So what's so unconventional about his workout? Well, Hopper doesn't spend hours on end in the gym. He focuses more on short, high-intensity workouts, pushing his body to its absolute limit, usually for as little as 15 to 20 minutes. Combined with intermittent fasting, his workout routine probably makes him the leanest guy on this list. We're just disappointed we didn't get to see him go toe-to-toe with someone like the Mountain or Brienne of Tarth. Some people are born great, others have greatness thrust upon them. We know the saying, but that is certainly the case with Game of Thrones' Jon Snow. The black sheep of the Stark family, Snow has been on an epic journey, and Harington has followed suit. As Snow has evolved into a great warrior and swordsman, Harington has pushed himself more and more, constantly seeking out authenticity in his performance. He's previously mentioned how with his relatively small 5'7" height, he struggles to pack on serious muscle. But even though that was the case, he was determined to live up to the Jon Snow persona and get a body to suit, even if that body would likely be hidden under layers upon layers of warm winter clothing. First, there's the diet and muscle building. We're talking 5,000 calories a day for 5 weeks. But aside to the gradual muscle building, Harington also wanted to embrace the go anywhere, do anything regime of Jon Snow. As Game of Thrones has progressed, so has Harington's dedication to the role. He's took up rock climbing, ice climbing, horse riding, and sword fighting. Of course, on top of that, Harington was training non-stop with all kinds of weaponry. And it's been said that Harington enjoys the full-on experience of combat training with stunt actors. This allows him to learn how to fight and be properly choreographed for the scene at the same time for greater accuracy and believability. Harington even had to prepare for the role of Milo in the movie Pompeii around the time of Game of Thrones Season 3, and that's when he really took things to the next level. That role demanded even more physical fitness and mastery of weapons, particularly swords, to the point that when he returned to training with the Game of Thrones crew, his technique had noticeably improved. So, really, Jon Snow is just a name. Harington lives as the character in real life. Let's just hope he keeps an eye out for White Walkers when he's doing his weekly shop. So, who do you think showed the most dedication to their craft? Are there any key actors we missed out? Be sure to let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to The Binger for more awesome videos like this. See you next time.